with over 50 Billboard Top 100 songs over the course of his career, and with, frankly, just too many accolades to name. Elton John's brilliance and musical influence is undeniable. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? My name is Konner, and welcome to the Songwriter Sanctuary. If you're joining us here for the first time and you like this video, please physically like this video and also subscribe to this channel. Your support helps out more than you know. Alright, so today we're going to be breaking down some Elton John chord progressions. I've been really excited about this video. I'm a huge Elton John fan, and his music is really one of a kind. Frankly, his entire catalog is overrun with interesting chord moves, so picking just 3 was really quite a task. But I got some good ones for you. I picked 3 that I think are great examples of his brilliant use of harmony, and also that are easy to apply to your own songwriting and your own chord progressions. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so the first song we're going to be talking about is I Guess That's Why They Call It the Blues. And this is kind of a 2-for-1 deal because we're going to be looking at 2 short chord progressions within the chorus of this song. So the first chord progression we're going to be looking at is from this section. I guess that's why they call it the blues. Time on my head. So this song starts in the key of G, and in the key of G, this chord progression goes 4, 1/3, flat 7, and then it does this walk down where it goes flat 7, 4/6, minor 5, and then it returns to the 4 to start the progression over again. Now here's the interesting thing about this. At face value, that's not that crazy a chord progression. Yes, we have some non-diatonic chords. We've got the flat 7, we've got the minor 5. Those are both interesting choices, but nothing super revolutionary. The genius of this progression is more in how it functions. So, like I said, the song starts in the key of G. However, what happens here during this progression is without even noticing it, you're being very gently moved into the key of C. Those same exact chords I just showed you in the key of C become 1, 5/7, 4, and then the walk down is 4, 1/3, 2, 1. Now all of those chords are directly in the key of C. Every single one of those chords is diatonic. So you get to the chorus and it still feels like you're in the key of G. However, as that chord progression plays out, and especially once it repeats, it becomes harder and harder to justify the fact that the song is in the key of G. And that is solidified and confirmed when you get to the second half of the chorus. And this is where the real magic happens. So the chord progression in the second half sounds like this. Laughing like children, living like lovers. And it goes 1, 5, 5, 6, 1/3, 4, 4, 2 major over sharp 4. This is all in the key of C. And by this point, it's undeniable that you're in the key of C. So the takeaway here is that if you want to raise the key of your song by a 4th, you can prime the listener with a flat 7 or a minor 5 chord, and then use any of the following chords. The 4, or the 1 in the new key, the 1, or the 5 in the new key, of course, the flat 7 and the minor 5, which would become the 4 and the 2 in the new key. There's a few others that would work as well. For example, the 6 would be the 3 in the new key, and the 2 would become the 6 in the new key. So here's an example of this. I'm going to start with a progression that goes 1, flat 7, 4, 5. I'm going to do this in the key of C, but in the next section, I'm going to pivot to the key of F. And I'm going to do that by going 4, flat 7, minor 5, 1, or in the key of F, 1, 4, 2, 5, which is a very common chord progression. Here's how that sounds. If you're looking for a way to very subtly and slowly shift from one key to another without it being some obvious thing, this is a great strategy you can employ. The next song we're going to talk about is Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Now with this, you get kind of another 2-for-1 deal. Now just like we just did, we're going to talk about how we get in and out of a section, but this time it's going to be the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus is, in my humble opinion, the most iconic part of this song. Here's how it sounds. So going into the pre-chorus, we're in the key of F, and then when we get to the pre-chorus, we switch to the key of A flat, and how he modulates from F to A flat is brilliant. The verse wraps up on a 1 chord, an F major chord. And then the very next chord that follows, the first chord in the pre-chorus, is a B flat minor, which would be a 4 minor chord in the key of F. A very pretty chord, by the way. I love the 4 minor. But functionally in the pre-chorus, it's used as a 2 minor chord in the key of A flat. And we can see that from the progression that follows. The pre-chorus goes 2, 5, 1, 4, 2, major 3, and then major 6. So the first 5 chords of that 7-chord progression are just straight out of the key of A flat. Now when you hit that transition from the verse into the pre-chorus, there's a huge lifting feeling. It sounds like you're being elevated into the stratosphere and landing in this really melancholy place. And there's 3 reasons why that happens. Number 1, you're jumping from an F chord up to a B flat minor chord. So you're raising the chord by a 4th. Number 2, the melody does a huge jump. It jumps a minor 9th. And number 3, the key elevates. You're raising the key from an F to an A flat. So all 3 of those components from the song are lifting, and the combination of those things makes it feel like you're just being launched upwards. Okay, now how do we get back to the key of F? Well, at the end of the progression, like we talked about, we have a 3 major chord and then a 6 major chord. So the 3 major, or sometimes the 3 dominant, is a chord that's commonly used to get you back to the minor 6, and that sounds like this. And during this section, the 3 major chord is used to get you to the 6th, but in this case, it's a major 6. And the reason for that is because in the key of A flat, your major 6 is F major. You land on the 1 of the original key that you were in, and it establishes the 1 as the tonic for the chorus. Just so sleek and so smooth. It's mind-blowing how well this works. So the big takeaway here is that anytime you want to raise the key a minor third, let's say from the key of C to the key of E flat, you can jump up to a minor 4. So you could go from C to F minor, and that F minor becomes the 2 in the key of E flat. Here's an example of this. I'm going to start with the 2-5-1 progression in the key of C. Then I'm going to jump up to that minor 4, that F minor. That's going to be a 2 in the key of E flat, and then I'm going to play the progression 2-4-5-1, but you'll hear how elevated and powerful it feels. You know what, I actually really like how that sounds. I think I might steal that from myself and write a song with it. You're free to do the same, by the way. If you want to take that progression and use it, by all means, go for it. Okay, so the final song we are going to talk about is Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And we're just going to focus on the intro here. So if you saw my Billy Joel chord progression breakdown, which will be, I never remember which side it pops up on, but it's somewhere over here. You'll see that pop up if you want to check it out. But if you've watched that video, you know that I love a good walking bass line. And strangely enough, this opening progression is actually very similar to the verse progression of Piano Man.
It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday.
In fact, the progressions start exactly the same. The only difference comes at the very end. So during the first part of the progression, what happens is the bass is just walking down note by note within the scale, and the chords are being constructed so that they conform to that bass line. Elton John and also Billy Joel are choosing chords so that the note that's being played in the bass is in the chord. And that looks like this. Now the place where this deviates from Piano Man is right at the end going into the verse. So all the way through the intro we've kind of been sinking. The bass line's been falling down and it feels like you're just being lowered gently. The bass line goes 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then right at the end we dip down to a 7 and it does the opposite. It climbs back up, it goes 7, 1, 2, 3, and lands on the 4, which is the root note of the first chord of the verse, the 4 chord. So the takeaway here is that you can use a walking bass line to make it feel like you're being lowered or lifted depending on the direction you go. And it's really easy to just move that bass line up and down in a stepwise way and choose chords to accompany it that fit nicely within the key. So here's an example. I'm just going to play something in the key of C and I'm going to wander around in stepwise motion in my left hand. My right hand's just going to randomly pick chords from the key of C that include the bass note in them. So there you go. Hopefully there's something in this video that was useful to you. Once again, if you did find this stuff valuable, it really would mean a lot if you subscribe to this channel and like this video. Also, feel free to drop a comment down below and let me know what other Elton John songs I should analyze. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a huge Elton John fan. I highly doubt this will be the last Elton John video I do, so your suggestions may prove valuable as I'm doing research for the next one. That's all she wrote. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.